Financial reserves were depleted, and debts were multiplied by 13 times, in addition to countless other losses. Not only did war in Yemen exhausted our country's army, but it also hit its economy. So how much were the economic losses in this war that turned into a new Vietnam War? When Prince Mohammed bin Salman launched a military operation against the Houthi militia in Yemen in 2015, he thought it would be a short battle that would only last for a few months. But more than 4 years later, our country still tastes the bitterness of its consequences. Our country alone has participated with 100 aircraft and more than 150,000 soldiers in addition to naval units. Tens of thousands of Sudanese mercenaries and Yemeni recruits were also brought to war. Reports say 40% of them are children. Estimates of our country's losses reveal a significant negative impact on its economy. According to the Times magazine, the cost of war was about $200 million a day, which amounts to $72 billion annually, while other sources indicate that the cost is much higher. One Patriot missile costs $3 million, and a ballistic missile launch requires at least 3 Patriot missiles, which means that Riyadh is losing $9 million per each missile launched by the Houthis. Since 2015, the Houthi militia has targeted Saudi sites with 119 ballistic missiles, meaning that the total loss of our country due to the Houthi missile projection exceeded $1 billion, not to mention hundreds of short-range missiles as well as drones. As for the cost of the aircraft involved in the war, it reaches about $230 million a month, including operation, ammunition, and maintenance. Accordingly, more than $10.5 billion were spent in 4 years. The number of sorties carried out by the so-called coalition reached more than 100,000 sorties. The cost of one sortie ranged between $84,000 and $104,000. During the first 6 months of the war only, expenditures on 2 satellites for military purposes reached $1.8 billion, while an early warning aircraft AWACS costs more than $1 billion a year. During the battles, the Houthi destroyed more than 650 Saudi tanks, plus hundreds of other vehicles, as well as shooting down 2 F-16 jets, 3 combat helicopters, and 3 reconnaissance aircraft. Western newspapers estimated the number of Saudi human casualties at about 2,500 deaths, including soldiers and officers. However, local sources say that more than 4,000 were killed and about 20,000 injured. Another issue that deepened Saudi losses is that the Houthi attacks did not stop at the border. Rather, it reached vital facilities in the heart of the kingdom, like airports and oil installations. For example, last September, it launched a massive drone and missile attack on Aramco. This led to cutting Saudi oil production by half, which resulted in billions of dollars of losses. The cost of war did not stop only at military expenditures. Saudi Arabia said it provided Yemen with $14 billion since the beginning of the war for aid. However, this figure is considered very small in the light of the economic and human losses that this poor country has suffered. As a result, Riyadh lost more than $225 billion of its cash reserves in less than 5 years. Public debt also reached more than $167 billion, compared to less than $12 billion before the war. The government has also imposed austerity on its citizens, which led to unprecedented changes in the social situation of the population of this oil kingdom. And despite these huge losses, Saudi Arabia has not achieved any of its goals out of this war. After more than 4 years, Riyadh admitted that a political solution is the only way out of the Yemeni crisis. But what concerns Mohammed bin Salman is how to get out of Yemen without this being seen as a victory for Iran.